Oh my goodness, it says poor network. Let's see what happens. Let's hope it's not. I was just saying to our friends on Instagram that you guys know that I'm on both channels. So if you're new, this is the first time, welcome. I come live on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, both on my Instagram, which is my personal one, which is Liz Earle Me. And then because I don't personally have Facebook, I use Liz Earle Wellbeing magazine for the Facebook. So lots of stuff actually on Facebook. So if you guys on Instagram are on Facebook, I do hope that you follow us there as well, because the nice thing about Facebook is that it's very clickable. So we've got Lou in the house today. Hi Lou. We were emailing earlier. How are you? So Lou is manning Facebook in Amy's absence. And when I talk about things, Lou has the unenviable task of jumping online and going, where's that link to that podcast? What's she talking about now? So if I go off on a tangent, I apologise, Lou, because she pops all the links on, which makes it super easy to find anything. And of course, the great thing about Facebook is it stays up. So if you want to watch on Instagram, I know lots of you watch on Instagram and then go over to Facebook later maybe to check a link. Instagram, we can't give you live links, but what we do is if you go to my biography on Instagram, the little bit of blurb about me beneath my little circle picture, there's a blue line that says Linktree, and if you click on that, hopefully everything is there. I made sure that before I came on, even the links to the Marks and Spencer's t-shirt that I'm wearing, I love this V shape. I just find that V's are so flattering, don't you? And I just think, I don't know, for basics, Marks and Spencer's are hard to beat for things like that, aren't they? Because they just do so many different sizes and colours. I've got a really pretty pale pink one. I just think that pink is just so pretty next to the skin. All shades of pink, you know, pale pink, dark pink. Doesn't really matter what skin tone you are, what skin colour. It just seems to reflect light and warmth back into your skin, I guess, because, you know, we've got all the blood circulating around us that gives us that healthy glow. So it's a sort of similar thing. Anyway, let us crack on with a Wellbeing Wednesday. Now, how many of you tuned into This Morning yesterday? It was about this time yesterday, no, it was a bit earlier maybe, and I was with Eamon and Ruth, who I just love. Normally it's Holly and Phil, because the days kind of work out that way with the rotors. But, you know, Eamon and I, we go back a long way, as you could probably tell from the bit of teasing that was going on. And I used to work at GMTV back in the day, like, I don't know how many years ago. 25, 30 years ago, I probably started there. Actually, not quite 30. I started on This Morning 32 years ago. Obviously, as a very small child, you understand, because obviously the maths wouldn't work otherwise. And he always teases me. You know, he is the only person, I think I put this on my stories yesterday, he is the only person, I think, in the world who calls me Elizabeth, apart from my mother. And he's always done it. Even when we worked together on GMTV, he would always say, Elizabeth Earle, what are you talking about now? And I heard him after I came off, because I was doing it from my kitchen in the West Country. So convenient. Honestly, I just had my laptop open and kind of through the wizardry of ITV technology, they were able to split the screen and patch me into the studios. And so I didn't have to leave home. I was literally like half an hour before, I was wandering around in my yoga leggings, messaging the producer saying, what time am I on? Because sometimes they change the times at the last minute because it's all live. I said, have I got time to do a bit of yoga? And she was saying, yeah, it's fine. You're not on until 11:15. So I was kind of wandering around. And then I suddenly realised, oh my goodness, I better get myself ready and, you know, dress up properly. Anyway, did all that, and that was quite fun. And then I heard afterwards, after I clicked off my bit, he was saying, oh, you know, that wellbeing stuff that she talks about, you can tell it works. Because, I mean, she's, what is she, 87? So was it 87 he had me down as? Something like that. Anyway, Eamon Holmes, you are a rascal, but I love you, and it was lovely to be back with you and Ruth, even if not together in the same studio, kind of semi-together. Caroline is saying on Facebook, received my Josh Wood products yesterday, really look forward to using them. Yes, I think it's great, isn't it? And she also says, Eamon is so funny, love the way Ruth tells him off. Yes, she does, doesn't she? Let me just click up on here. Hi, Jill. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Shirley. Hi, Nita, Lindsay, Anne, Jenny, Julia, Fab. I always have to scroll up on Instagram. I'm not sure why. Big shout out, by the way, if you are watching on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is really growing. And if you're not yet subscribed, please do. YouTube is just another great platform. We are going to start filming, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, in a landscape version. So YouTubers, you will get a proper, better look if you're watching this on TV. I know a lot of people mirror it onto their TVs or watch it on an app on their TV. So we are working on that. So it's all, step by step by step, we're getting there. If you're not signed up to YouTube, do please sign up, because a lot of the beauty tutorials and the makeup tutorials, the hair tutorials, the exercise stuff, that kind of seems to fit better on YouTube and is easier to find. Otherwise, you're just endlessly scrolling through Facebook and Instagram pages to find it. Whereas on YouTube, you can just type in, Liz Earle Wellbeing makeup or Liz Earle Wellbeing exercise, Michael Gary or whatever, and it will, it'll pop up. So, Marie, love the dress you're wearing on ITV yesterday. It was from Bjorken, I think you pronounce it. I popped a link on, I think I put a link on my Instagram, maybe not. We're actually in discussion with them at the moment because I quite like them to give us all a discount. So watch this space, fingers crossed. We'll see if we can get a Liz Loves going with them, because they seem like a really lovely brand and they have some really nice things. So what was I talking about? This week I was talking about, obviously, kombucha. I have got my scobies here at the ready, and I will be splitting them again. For those of you who missed it on ITV, I thought I would do that again. But I thought I would also just run through some quick questions and comments before we get going with the rest of the day and the goodies that I'm going to share with you. This was from Facebook, Helen. Oh, I laughed until I cried. Eamon's face was priceless. Let's keep the fun going. It's much needed at the moment. Yes, it is, isn't it? Let's have some fun. Karen made me giggle this morning. I need a giggle right now. Thank you. Helen says, I'm just in the process of creating my first mother SCOBY. Having never heard of this sorcery, I'm excited to be cultivating this creation. Excellent. I love the way you've written that. Okay, so lots of questions about my gut box, the gut health box. This does contain a SCOBY along with lots of other fermented things. I'm actually going to do most of this on Friday. I thought I'd do a fermenting Friday, but I will talk a little bit about it. So I know there's a link, Lou, I'm sure you'll pop a link on Facebook. We launched it last Friday, I think. There's a link on Linktree for Instagram. 6 amazing ferments, including a kombucha and milk kefir, water kefir, incredible yogurt, what else? A turmeric drink and creme fraiche. And I'm going to show, I think, the turmeric drink, which is like a fermented turmeric. It's really delicious, especially if it gets hot and you just want something soft and chilled and low sugar and really good for inflammation and gut health. Fabulous. And that's quite unusual. So I was really pleased to discover that and pop that into my little box. And also the creme fraiche, which I really like, which is a lovely way of having cream with your berries and all of that, summer fruits, but also having some probiotic goodness with it. So yes, I'll be talking about that in just a sec. A few other questions here. This is from Victoria on Facebook, who asks, what is the best SPF to wear under foundation that's not shiny and gives a white mask? Good question. We should all be looking after our skin if we're spending time in the sun. So Victoria, I'm a big fan of mineral-based sunscreens. So they are the ones that contain things like titanium dioxide or zinc oxide that do historically have a white, shiny sort of ghost-like effect. So it's always a question of balancing how many of the synthetic sunscreens you want to use versus the safety of using a high factor based with going purely mineral, which obviously can be quite whitening. So actually, I was just checking earlier, this is, if you've got the current edition of the magazine, this is the subscriber cover here. On page 35, you'll see there's a whole list of some of the newer face creams with sunscreen, because technology changes all the time, and the things that I wrote about back in the day have probably been discontinued or have been upgraded, and they've got new technology and new ingredients. So this is very much how to have high SPFs. So some of the things that we've talked about here, Bioderma, that's a 50 plus. That is a very good one. That doesn't, however, come in any dark shades. It's only quite pale. So if you're darker skinned, then actually better to head for a Bare Minerals. And that's a tinted hydrating gel, and that's a John Lewis one. Also, actually, this is really nice. This is the one that I've been using. It's a Beauty Pie product, one of my favourites. So Beauty Pie SPF 25. Where are we? There's a picture of it here. That's the Beauty Pie one. And this is actually more like a primer than a sunscreen, which is really good. So you talked there, Victoria, about wanting to wear an SPF under makeup. So if you can get one that's got that almost like primer type coverage. So this is, you know, SPF 25 is still plenty high enough, especially if you're covering it with foundation. It basically means an SPF number means that you can stay out in the sun that length of time more than you could if you had no sunscreen on. So an SPF 25 gives you 25 times more protection than you would have if you had no sunscreen. So that's pretty impressive. I mean, frankly, even 15 times the length of time is still pretty good, unless, of course, you are in tropical sunshine and you are just flat out baking yourself for hours and hours in the midday sun, which we shouldn't be doing, obviously. A little bit of sun, very good for vitamin D. Hope you heard my podcast last week on the Friday 5 on that. But I'm super happy to have a good SPF 25. Now, don't forget, this actually does say this in the magazine here, that you can get your month's membership free on Beauty Pie with Liz Loves. So if you've not tried their products before, they are really good. I use a wide range of them, as you know, if you've watched my makeup tutorials. You basically sign up, you have a membership deal, you take out a 3-month membership subscription. I think you can pay only £5 or £10 a month. It's really low. And if you use Liz Loves as the code, you get your first month free. And thereafter, that gives you access to buy all their stuff at cost price, literally cost price. So this, for example, if you look, so yeah, the Bare Minerals I mentioned, that's £30. So I guess, and there's one here, Dr. Sam Bunting that we've mentioned, that's £29. So, you know, those are the kind of prices. This one with Beauty Pie, once you've joined up with your membership, it's £9.95. So, you know, that's quite a big saving. That's just what the cost is of making it. And that's a UVA and a UVB filter. So that is in the current issue. This, if you've got it, this is the subscriber issue. Just to remind you, you don't have much longer to get it as a subscriber with the special offer, because where's the retail version gone? Excuse me, I'm going to have to get it from my shelves. I've got one behind me. So this is the retail edition. So this is what it looks like in the shops at the moment, and this is the last one that's going into retail. We're coming out of retail for lots of reasons, mostly due to COVID, but also some other reasons as well to do with sustainability, and we just felt that it was a better decision for everybody, and it better protects us as a small publisher able to continue, because we want to continue. Who else likes the magazine? Who else likes seeing it in print? Because of course we could just go online. We could just make it a digital, so you just kind of, you know, download the app. You can read it. But I think it's always nice to be in print. You know, I really think that there's something very permanent about print. You know, it's tangible. It gets you off a screen, because we know that we shouldn't be spending all our lives on a screen. You know, you can just sit and it's something to hold. It's something real. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, lots of hearts and comments, and yeah, breeder me, absolutely. And also, you know, to be really honest with you, as an editor, because I am editor-in-chief of Liz Earle Wellbeing magazine, it's quite a nerve-wracking thing when every issue we press the print button, because that is the point of no return. You know, and it's got my name on it, so I have to be fully accountable for everything in here. I have to stand by it. And we say on the front of it, wellness wisdom you can trust. You know, that is a big statement, isn't it? Big statement, especially when talking about things like health and well-being and nutrition and all of those things. You know, it's got to be thoroughly researched, totally evidence-based. Otherwise, I'm going to get into big trouble. So if you are just online and you make a mistake, it's no big deal. You know, you hop online, you go, oh, better change that. That's not quite right on the website. Let's just change it. I can't do this. You know, once that has gone to press, that is it. It's gone. And, you know, yeah, lots of chat here about keeping the magazines. No, I hope, Caroline, I hope that we never stop it. I really, really hope. But of course, we'll only continue as long as we have the subscribers. So that's the deal. You guys have to subscribe. If we've got no subscribers, then we won't be able to print it. So basically, putting this into print and keeping it, there is hopefully a reliability and a trust and a permanence. And you can see, here I am in my studios actually, in, all the magazines. I think we've got 24 of them or maybe 25 of them since the beginning. And you could pick any one of those up and look at it years later. And, okay, things do move on and there's new research, so you kind of have to caveat with that. But essentially, it has to stand the test of time and be real. And I just love it. I just love coming back, particularly in the summer. I go back and I think, oh, what was I writing about last summer? What were the recipes? Because obviously we have new recipes all the time, so we don't repeat. So I'd like to go back and see last August, what was I cooking? What was I doing? What was I making for picnics? What was I having for barbecues? All of those things. So it's really nice to keep. Maybe we should create some folders or something. What do you think? That we could kind of keep them. Thank you. So many nice comments. Okay, so if you haven't subscribed and you want to, there's a deal at the moment which is 6 issues for the price of 5, so you get one free. Basically, we come out every other month, so this one is the July-August edition. So you've got 2 months worth of reading here. And so you get your free issue, you get free UK P&P, and it can be posted globally, you just pay the extra postage. And at the moment, you get £10 as a voucher to spend at Neal's Yard on anything. So you could buy yourself some lavender oil, which I think is £9.50. So, you could buy, or some of their new things. Actually, that reminds me, they have just sent me some lovely new things, which I tried this morning. Now, you know me and roses. Okay, roses are, I love peonies. I love the look of peonies. But for me, the smell of rose is just, rose and neroli, I think, are my 2 absolute favourites. So Neal's Yard have got this new range, which I really like, and it's called Wild Rose. So there's a Wild Rose body lotion, love that. What I like about this in particular, I used this morning after my shower. I did go for my run, and then I came back and I hopped in the shower. What I love about this, oh my goodness, I wish you could smell it, is it's very, very hydrating. So there's no mineral oils in here, it's all plant oils, and it really is super rich. If your skin is really dry, maybe you've been overdoing it in the sun, or you've got really dry skin, you know how you get that really dry chapped skin below the knee, super dry, then this is absolutely lovely for that. And it's got organic wild rose seed oil, so rosehip seed. So we know that rosehip is such an amazing oil for the skin. And that's just got lovely, lovely things in it. And, it's got Organic Standard, Soil Association, really pretty label. Actually, you can see on there, do you see? You can see the rose hips and the little wild rose flowers. I love wild roses. I've got a whole jewellery collection based on the wild rose. I did I think it's probably my biggest collection. I've got the necklace, the bracelet, the earrings, and the little drops that come from the earring with the little rose leaf. Both in rose gold, which is the pinky one. I've got my ivy ones in today in the rose gold, which I just love. I just think rose gold is, it's very fashionable, isn't it, at the moment, but it also just kind of reflects off the skin, particularly with a bit of sunshine. These are 40% off, by the way, don't miss those, just till the end of August, so just a couple more weeks. So wild roses, which is the hedge rose that when you leave it, it starts off in the little flower, it's about that size. I've got lots on my farm in the hedgerows, and then in the winter time or towards, I guess where are we now? August. So really from next month onwards, September, October, that's when you develop the rose hips, and you can make rose hip syrup. I think there's a recipe online for rose hip syrup, but I will check that. This one is also lovely. This is the Wild Rose Shower Oil, and I popped that on this morning. So this, when you put it into the shower, it actually kind of emulsifies. So it's a cleansing oil. Again, really nice. They say you can shave with it. So if you shave your legs or your underarms, then you can do that. I'm sorry, that is somebody mowing outside. Excuse me. Hi, sorry, can we not do that? Because I'm recording.
Sorry, I was just tidying that up.
Yeah.
That's you're finishing up now.
You're doing? Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Thanks.
I'll sort the irrigation.
Thank you. Sorry, I've got to go.
No worries.
Yeah, I've got to go. Sorry, got people to talk to, things to do. And breathe and calm. There's always something, isn't there? There's always something. It is live. That's That's what happens when it's live. Anyway, they have gone away, so that's fine. And they were nicer than the scaffolders that I had last time, who were a bit scary. Oh, I thought I'm not going to go and take them on, but they were nice guys in the garden. Right, so that was the wild rose shower oil. And then I also tried this. This is really nice. This is the body polish. It's very gentle. So if you like a scrub in the shower, or maybe a hand scrub that's just got a few little bits in it, just to gently, not strip the skin, then this was, again, really nice. And it's got sweet almond oil in it, and it smells of roses, and it's just lovely. And this actually has the crushed organic wild rosehip seeds. That's what's giving it the exfoliation. Does that sound lovely? And then last but not least, I kept this in its box to show you because I just thought the box was so pretty. And of course it's pink. Wellbeing pink. It's not my brand, but there you go. I love it. And this is the dry body oil. And this again is really nice. It's interesting here. It said it's certified organic, 24-hour moisturization. Skin will glow with radiance with this lightweight, fast-absorbing dry body oil. Okay, so all of these, basically, they smell of roses. They are lovely. They're one of my favourite ingredients. And if you get your subscription to the magazine, then you get your £10 voucher, which means that all of these will be very much cheaper. Or you could buy one of the essential oils or whatever. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that because that is kind of while stocks last, okay? And I know they're going quickly. I'm not sure how many exactly we've got left, but they are going super fast. And all of these you probably wouldn't have seen because I had it out of vision. I put in my lovely Donna May bag. So this is Donna May, who's the makeup artist for Loose Women on ITV. It's another female founder-led brand. So as you know, I like to feature brands that are smaller, that you perhaps won't have heard of before, brands that are doing things the right way, that are behaving ethically and treating customers well. These are really well priced. This is their vegan bag, so it's in kind of vegan leather. And basically what you do, I don't know if you can see on here from the angle where I am, you can just spread it all out like that. And then this is what I did with all my Josh Wood stuff. So it's flat like that. So if you are travelling, you can just open up your makeup bag. So you don't have to rummage around in the bottom of your bag, which I'm forever doing, saying, where is that little bit of, dark brown eye pencil that I really want to find, or that mascara, and it's just at the bottom of my bag somewhere. So you can spread it all out, and then you just, put everything back in there when you're finished with it, and then you just scoop it all up, like that. And there you go. All really super neat. I like this, and she's given me my little L. That was so sweet. You can get a little initial to add on there. And if you put Liz Loves on the Donna May website at checkout, you get, I think it's 10% discount. This is also a really nice one. More pink. Everyone knows that I'm into pink. This I think looks a bit like a shower hat. It could probably double up because it is waterproof. But this has got her signature lips on it, and this is a really good one. And if you are heading off to the beach or by the pool or wherever you are going, this is totally indestructible and waterproof, so that is really good. So that's Donna May. On the subject of makeup, I wanted to share a couple of updates with you because, again, I was talking about Beauty Pie earlier, and when I did my makeup with Kerry September, I hope you're able to see that on Monday. Gosh, I don't know, so much has happened this week. It seems like it was days ago. But it was just on Monday when she and I got together. Kerry, by the way, has done my makeup. This one she did for me in Kenya. She's done my makeup for every single magazine. I'm going to see if I can find, what's the first one that we were in print with? Where would it be on here? Gosh, so many. The first one, actually the first two were digital, and then we printed. I don't know where my May one has gone. Oh, here we go. This was the first one that we ever did. So this was, when was this? Summer 2015. So isn't that pretty, that cover? I still love that cover. Really, really love it. Just so pretty. This was a floral wreath actually from the Real Flower Company, Roseby Morton. You may have remembered I've podcasted with her. She's been on my Instagram lives. Really lovely company. We've worked together doing lots of different things over the years. So yeah, summer 2015, that makes us 5 years old. Gosh, where does the time go? Can't quite believe it. Anyway, so Kerry and I have worked together for a long time. We were working out it's possibly even 20 years. And she and I did a little makeup tutorial and a couple of things that I just wanted to share with you because I wasn't sure whether they were in stock, and I did have a look at the Beauty Pie website. This is something that is kind of a rouge that Kerry introduced me to years ago, and the one that she gave me back then was, I think, a Laura Mercier one, which has been discontinued long time ago. But this is almost identical, and I love it. And it's called Go Rouge from Beauty Pie, and it is... You can honestly, you don't even really need a mirror. It's just foolproof. It just gives you a little healthy flush. And if you do what Kerry was recommending, and that was take it over the eyelids, so you can just kind of glam up your look and just warm up the face with summer coming, just to, just to give you a bit of healthy glow. And then the other lipstick, which I couldn't remember the name of, which I also really love, and I did find it for you, is called Nothing Nude. I love all this play on names. Nothing Nude. There you go. And this is actually quite wound down a bit because I've used it a lot. That's the colour. Really pretty. It's almost the same colour as my t-shirt, actually. But again, it's just one of those colours that just gives you a little bit more than your natural lip colour, so you just look a little bit more done, but it doesn't kind of interfere or fight with anything. I find it really hard to wear things like strong reds and strong corals. It's just not me. I think there's one cover that Kerry did with a strong lip, and even then I think I wiped most of it off. Shh, don't tell her. I've got it, I think, was it this one? Might have been, this Christmas. Yeah, she did this. We did 2 versions of it because she put me in a bright red lipstick, and I just said to her, I'm really sorry, Kerry, I just can't cope with it. So it was a Christmas one, and she wanted to match my lipstick to my red jacket, and she put me in a bright red lip, and I said, I'm just sorry, I just feel that I'm a pair of red lips. This does not feel like me. Every single picture you look at, the makeup, the lip is always just a little bit of emphasising what we naturally have. And I mean, for me, that's how I prefer to be. And I do try, honestly. Kerry, if you're watching, trust me, I do try, darling. I listen to what you say and I try it, and I look at myself in the mirror and I think I just look like somebody else. Oh dear. Susan, difficult to hear when you turn your back from the screen. I am sorry. I will try and stay facing forward. Linda, do you miss your longer hair? I don't actually. I've actually pulled it back today. You can see it's, it is quite a bit shorter than it used to be. And this is the length that I like. I find it really easy to manage. It's just kind of on the shoulder. I haven't actually done anything with it today, so I just thought I'd pull it back. It's also getting quite hot here in London. I wonder what it's like where you are, but the temperature, I know it's set to really rise this week. Which means that I haven't been sleeping terribly well, so I've been using my slumber drops, which I'm really grateful for. Thank you, Life Armour, for those. Thank you for the discount that we get with Liz Loves. You'll find links to all of that. I know a lot of you are loving slumber drops, finding that really helpful at the moment. So something else that Kerry mentioned on Monday, and I found mine, I wanted to show you. It was It Cosmetics. This is the thing that I talked about. It's called Bye Bye Under Eye. Another clever name, hey? Bye Bye Under Eye. And this is an amazing concealer. If I have not been sleeping and I've got really dark shadows, I mean not just bags, but like suitcases under my eyes, this is what I use. So this is the medium, and it is very, very covering. Kerry was talking about it, how she uses it for pigmentations, you can use it for birthmarks. It's not exactly the right colour for my hands because my hands are a little bit darker than my face. But the coverage is excellent. It honestly, I think it was maybe even first developed for scars. And you can just put it right in here. This is the corner here where you get really dark shadows, and it just transforms your face, and it's not outrageously expensive, and a little bit goes a long way. This is a teeny tube that I've got. I've had this for over a year. You know, really, really good. And again, we've got links. I think I used it in one of my makeup tutorials. I'm not going to waste that. I'm going to use it on my other hand as well, because of course concealers do give you sun protection because they're that mineral block. So, you know, if you're using a concealer under the eyes, it's actually protecting your skin as well as, you know, disguising the dark shadows. You are actually getting a really, really good sun protection. I mean, I don't know what this would be because it hasn't been analysed for sun protection, but because it's so occlusive, such a barrier, I'd be amazed if it wasn't something like a, you know, a 30 or a 40, but they obviously don't test it for that, so it doesn't declare an SPF rating. Now, before I go on and dip into, finally, some fermentation, just before I finish, just wanted to share with you, I'm obviously up in London, and so I'm out and about a lot more and having to wear a mask, much more than I have been obviously walking around the fields in the countryside. And I've talked before about holistic silk, and these are the ones that I've road tested. I wore them on the plane when I went to Italy not long ago, and you have to sit for the entire journey. You know, you have to wear them obviously through the airport, but you know, on the plane. So for hours and hours at a time, and I just found that the holistic silk ones, they are beautifully cut, and there's a plain one that I've mentioned before. But before I went away, I actually went online and I ordered this one. They've got lovely patterns, and I just thought I'd share it with you because it's such a pretty colour. Look, isn't that so nice? And they've got lots and lots of colours, and I just thought I'd be all kind of, you know, colour coordinated, you know, like I do actually plan these things occasionally. Honestly, there's so much going on. It's just like it's such a quick flurry. Quick, what should we talk about today? Anyway, what I like about them is the way that they've been really tailored. You know, you can see the way that they're stitched. It's a lovely Cornish-based company. Again, female founder-led brand, doing the right thing. And they've got lots of lovely things. They've got silk turbans that I demonstrated not that long ago to kind of keep your hair smooth and glossy overnight. They've got, you know, sleep eye masks made of silk, really nice. And what this does is it comes in a little bag, and it comes with two of these little charcoal filters, which you can either buy from their website or you can buy it from another website. If you just put charcoal filter face mask refills into your search engine, you will find them. And so, you know, I forget what it is, I think they last for 36 hours or something, I'm not sure. Anyway, it says all the instructions online. You can just refill the little pouch, or I guess you could just use it without if you wanted, because this is for air filtering really. So there you are, and then you have it in your little holistic silk drawstring bag, and Liz Loves, in capitals, at the checkout, gets you 10% off. So just wanted to share that. Right, something else to share, and this has actually been looking at me since I began, and I'm actually going now to eat it. This, drum roll, is my Bulgarian yogurt. Now, for those of you who watched on Friday, I have to say, I don't know if any of you have already got the Bulgarian yogurt and have made it. It is exceptional. I would say this is possibly the best plain yogurt I have ever eaten. Promise you. And I'm not just saying that because I made it, because some of my yogurts, to be honest, haven't turned out quite so well. So, I launched last Friday the Good Gut box. This is how it comes. And it's really a one-stop shop. What I wanted to do, you know, I've been banging on about making kefir and making scobies and all sorts of things for so long now. In fact, I've probably got my Good Gut Guide book here. I won't talk with my back to you. I'm back to talk. That was the book that started it all, Good Gut Guide. Published, when was this published? 3-4 years ago? No, I've got long hair again there. And I'm wearing pink, of course, here in my studios. That was published, in 2017. Gosh, 2017. Seems like longer. Anyway, so I was researching that in 2016, 2015, because it takes a year or two to get a book together. And really looking at all the different varieties of yogurts and kefir grains and water kefir and milk kefir and turmeric drinks and fermented stuff. And as you can imagine, I get asked all the time, where do I get my kefir grains? Where do I get my SCOBY? What's the best yogurt? So I thought, do you know what? I'm going to find the best, and 6 of the best, and I'm going to put them in a little box and say, there you go. Here are the instructions. You can make it yourself. And the great thing about making fermented foods is that once you buy the original starter, they go on forever. Literally forever if you keep them right. I mean, I know people, and in fact there are bakery brands that pride themselves on saying, we've been using the same original sourdough starter for 200 years, literally. So if you look after them right. So what I decided to do was work with my magazine team, so Liz Earle Wellbeing, so Liz Earle Wellbeing collaboration basically, and a website called Freshly Fermented. And they are organic, brilliant food producers. They are really top when it comes to sourcing the best fermented ingredients or original starter cultures, which they grow themselves. Another British founder-led brand, small brand, doing the right thing. And so I've been working with them for a little while now, testing the very best. So in your box, it's £35, and you get 6 starter cultures. You get a little intro letter that tells you from me why I have picked all of these things and why I think they're so good. So you get your milk kefir grains, you get your water kefir grains, you get your organic kombucha SCOBY, you get your organic little turmeric bug, which if you've got yours and haven't done it yet, you need to activate it by soaking it in water for 24 hours. So I'm going to do that today. And then I might do it tomorrow morning. And then I'll have that ready to show you how to actually ferment it into a drink on Friday when I'm back here with you doing that. And then you get your yogurt, which I'll talk about in a sec. And then you get your creme fraiche starter, which is also something that you can prepare in advance because you start off with milk and then you add cream. So here's just really simple organic creme fraiche starter. But again, once you've got this little bit of magic, you save a bit. Once you've made your yogurt or your creme fraiche or whatever it is, or your kefir, you save that bit and then that starts off the next one. So it just keeps going. So it's unbelievably good value. It cuts down on all that single-use plastic, all those endless yogurt pots and cartons. You don't have them anymore because this was my yogurt maker jar, glass jar. It comes with little lids. I think you get 6 or 7 of them with your yogurt maker. And excuse me, I'm going to have to eat another spoonful because it's so good. So, you can just wash and reuse. They go on. I think, as I mentioned on Friday, I've had a yogurt maker for at least 20 years. And it's just very satisfying pulling a jar of your own homemade yogurt in glass out of the fridge. Actually, I've got some of these blueberries, which I'm going to put in. Love flavouring yogurt with blueberries and blackberries. Any blackberry, whether it's a blueberry or a blackberry, is especially good because it's full of anthocyanins, which is really good for the skin. Oh, that is good. So that's the Bulgarian yogurt. Now, I talked about making yogurt before, and we had this big conversation online. I don't know if you remember, but those of you who were with me back in the early days of my first Instagram lives in the kitchen, and there was this big conversation about how do you make yogurt thicker. And I was saying, well, you can add corn flour, you can strain it, there are different kind of tricks and tips. And we were talking about, leaving it alone and putting it in the oven just because then nobody bangs into it, because if it gets unsettled, then it will, separate out or whatever. Anyway, I found a much, much better way. This is where you get your choice when you buy the box. If you go for the Bulgarian yogurt, which is the one I've got here, this makes the really thick, creamy yogurt. Now, the disadvantage of that is you need a yogurt maker, okay? Because it only really activates when it's warm. So a yogurt maker, they're not very expensive. I think they're about £20 maybe. And once you've got it for life. I've had mine, as I say, for about 20 years. But it is really good. You do need that constant temperature. If you don't have a yogurt maker and you want to make the Bulgarian yogurt, you can try it in a thermos flask. So you can heat it to the right temperature and then you put it in a thermos flask, and hopefully the warmth of the flask will keep it and will set it. So it's certainly worth trying that. You could try, if you've got a really warm airing cupboard, you could try putting it on there. You can try setting it on a metal plate or tray and putting that on a hot water bottle. You know, something that gives you, what it needs to do is sit on something that's just warm enough to keep the bugs fermenting. So if you are able to do that and you want that thick creamy yogurt, then choose the Bulgarian option. That's the only choice you have to make with the box, basically. It's either Bulgarian or it's this other version called Vili yogurt. And Vili yogurt is a special strain that's come from Scandinavia. Again, it makes a really delicious yogurt. It's not too sharp. It's got a very slight tang to it and it's got lots of good gut bugs, but it's cold. So you use cold milk. So easy to make, you can't even demo it. It's just this stirred into cold milk essentially, and leave it and it turns into yogurt. But it's a thin yogurt, so it's a pouring yogurt. So if you want something that you can use a bit like single cream, you could pour it onto your berries, you could pour it onto cereal, you could add it to your smoothies, you know, anything like that, absolutely great. You can use the Vili yogurt. And if you want the thicker one, then you just will need to get the Bulgarian one, but you have to use that with some kind of heat because that's what sets it off. Anyway, just to say, in the box you get the list of everything. I've also put in 3 of my top favourite recipe cards. These came from my Good Gut Guide book, so they're all gut-friendly recipes, which I hope you love. And last but not least, you have your SCOBY, which I'll talk about in just a second. Then when you've got your box, you just basically go back onto either the Liz Earle Wellbeing website or the Freshly Fermented website, and you just print off or download your instructions. So you've got milk kefir. Lots of questions have come in about milk kefir, about lactose intolerance. This is really interesting. When you ferment yogurt and kefir in particular, the little gut microbes digest almost all of the lactose. Lactose is a milk sugar, and that's what the beneficial bacteria use to grow. So you'd start off, say, with some whole milk and some kefir grains. By the time you get to have the kefir, maybe 48 hours later, the grains, the bacteria in the grains, have digested all the lactose, which is why those who are lactose intolerant, including people like my son, my eldest son who's lactose intolerant, absolutely fine with milk kefir. So proper whole milk, animal milk, which is what you need, because you need those proteins. You need the lactose, the milk sugars and the proteins to feed the bacteria. So yes, you can make a kind of kefir from things like coconut milk or almond milk, but it won't be as potent because you won't have fed the bacteria with the milk proteins and the milk sugars that it needs to grow and thrive, which is why purists will say you shouldn't really call it kefir. You should just say it's a lovely fermented, plant-based probiotic drink. But it's not kefir because it doesn't have the same level of efficacy in the gut. Anyway, for those of you who don't want any milky type drinks, you can do your water kefir. So I guess it shouldn't really be kefir, should it? Your water-based probiotic drink. Anyway, we've called it here water kefir. So these grains are clear, and they're the ones that I showed you last Friday. You get the instructions, everything that you need to do. You can use coconut milk if you want, coconut water rather if you want to. You can use just normal filtered water. Always good to use filtered water or bottled water that doesn't contain chlorine, because there is a possibility that the chlorine in the water, obviously chlorine's a disinfectant, it's antibacterial, and it could kill your kefir grains. So that's the only thing with the water kefir. Then you get your instructions. Either I've got the Vili yogurt here if you've got the one that's cold to make, or there's the Bulgarian yogurt, that's the thick creamy one if you want to make that with a bit of heat. Then you've got the turmeric bug, which I'm going to be showing on Friday, how to make the turmeric bug. Really fun, such a lovely thing. It's a bit like a ginger beer plant, only it's much better for you because you've got all the anti-inflammatory properties of the turmeric. So you feed it turmeric, you feed it sugar and turmeric, and it just grows and thrives, and it turns that into a really healthy drink. Low sugar drink again, because it's converting the sugar that you give it into good gut bugs as part of the fermentation process. So that leaves us, last but not least, let's talk about the kombucha. For those of you who missed it on this morning, let me just do a quick check. Sorry, I'm overrunning slightly, but that's the nice thing about not being on telly, is they don't cut you off. You can just carry on. What's the best container for storing a SCOBY? Okay, that's from Victoria on Facebook. So let me just show you the SCOBYs first of all. This is the one that's in the Good Gut box. I won't open it because it's all beautifully packed in its liquid. Whenever you buy a SCOBY, usually you get them online or you get them from a friend. They'll need to be there with a bit of liquid because that's what you need to kind of get it going. So what you'll do with your SCOBY is basically you put it into a bowl or a large jar, and you fill it with warm water with tea. So you can use tea bags as long as they're plastic free. We've got a whole feature on plastic free tea bags because they use plastic to seal them, so you don't want the microparticles of plastic ending up in either your tea or your kombucha. So using loose leaf tea is a really good idea. In your box you do get this, and this is one of the best teas that I've found for this. It's an organic chunmi loose leaf green tea, and it is the highest grade, it says so here, of whole leaf and bud chumni with a tight, finely curled, delicate leaf. And it's just delicious, and I think these guys are great. It's called Blighty Brew, really nice tea brand, Blighty Brew, and it's organic high mountain tea, and this is the one that comes in your pack, so you've already got it. You don't need to worry about what tea am I going to use for my kombucha. So you'd use that in your warm water or hot water, but then just let it cool down a bit before you add the SCOBY. Also in the pack you get organic fair trade sugar packed in paper, so that's what you make this sweet tea out of. So you've got hot water with your tea and your sugar, and that's basically giving you this sort of liquid here. And then into that you would place, very carefully, you'd place your SCOBY, which is going to look a little bit like this. Okay, that's what your SCOBY is going to look like. And you place that into the liquid, and then after about 10 days, this one's about 10 days old, this one actually came out of my jar, and it did look like this. Whoa, it's very slippery. In fact, that's what happened to me on this morning. One of them slipped out of my hands as I was doing this. So what happens after 10 days is that SCOBY grows. So SCOBY feeds on all the lovely warm sweet tea that you've given it. Yum, 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 delicious. I'm going to grow and grow and grow and ferment and create all this lovely juice. And it grows a baby underneath it. So you end up with 2 SCOBYs, okay? And you just literally, you lift one off. This is just a new one that's grown underneath. And then you have 2 bowls. And then you make 2 more lots of kombucha. Or you give one to a friend, and the whole thing just carries on. You end up literally being overrun. I think I had a comment on my Instagram yesterday, somebody saying that she had a SCOBY farm going because you end up with so many of them. So, but like anything, they are, I'm going to pop them back in the liquid, they are only ever really as good as the ingredients that you start with, and only ever as good as the ingredients that you keep them going with, which is why, to make life easier, in the Good Gut box, I wanted to give you the best tea and the best fair trade organic sugar. So, you know, there's no excuse. You've got everything. You've got your SCOBY, you've got your Blighty Brew tea, you've got your sugar. You know, you just need to add the water. Ideally filtered water. I think you could use tap water for that, as long as it's not got too much chlorine in it, because the SCOBYs are quite robust. And another way to get a free SCOBY, if you want a free SCOBY, is I talked about some of the kombucha brands that you can buy. Oh, click off that message. Some of the kombucha brands you can buy that I really like, and we've done a feature on Liz Earle Wellbeing on the website on them. 2 in particular that I like. One is called Holos, which comes in glass bottles, and they do a subscription service. You can sign up, and they were the ones that Eamon and Ruth were testing yesterday. And they have delicious flavours, you know, hibiscus and ginger and all sorts. Really, really nice drinks. And they are the real deal. You get little bits of SCOBY sometimes floating about in them to show that they are authentic. And they are a great brand, started by 5 young women in London, and they support victims of human trafficking, so which sadly is a very real thing, modern day slavery. And so they are a real social enterprise business with a heart. And, you know, if you're going to buy your kombucha, get a subscription from them, because they'll just send you every month, they'll send you 10 or 12, I think it is, delicious bottles that size, of these deliciously flavoured, authentic kombuchas, and then you know that you're supporting something good as part of it. A bit like the new ground coffee that I've mentioned before, that when you buy their little great packs of roast coffee, you know that you're supporting rehabilitation of ex-offenders coming back into society. So I love, love, love brands that do that and give us the chance to buy really good things. Obviously, that's got to be the fundamental, but then put back, use their platform for social good, because that is what's going to make the world a better place. And then it's up to us to support these guys and say, actually, do you know what? If I'm going to be buying kombucha, I'm going to be buying coffee, I'm going to be buying, whatever it is, these are the guys that I'm going to choose because they're doing the right thing and they're making a difference. So what I did, another company that I really like, a kombucha company, is called Mighty Brew. And I met these guys when I was hosting the Handmade Festival. Maybe last year, I think it was. This is the festival that Kirsty Allsop does. And then on the days that she can't do, I've been stepping in and covering for her as a host. And hosting workshops and interviewing people and all of that. Anyway, I came across Mighty Brew. They had a stand there and they gave me some of their kombucha. And I wonder if I can hook him out. This little chap here, I grew, I feel quite proud of him. It's a bit like a little seed. I grew this little guy from a bottle of Mighty Brew. So I had some of their kombucha and it had some little bits and pieces like this floating around in it. I know it doesn't look great, but it smells fine. It smells of vinegar. It turned into, I fed it with a little bit of sugar and a little bit of sweet tea, and it turned into my own SCOBY. So that is how you know that you're buying the real authentic kombucha, when you can actually get it to ferment and start growing and producing a free SCOBY. I haven't really done much with this little chap. I might need to rescue him, I think, and put him in a bigger container now that I'm around in London, and see if I can get him growing, and maybe he'll grow a baby, or she will grow a baby, and we'll have more SCOBYs from that. I'm soon going to have so many SCOBYs, I'm not going to know what to do with them. And you just share them. You just, you give the gift. If you want to give somebody a SCOBY, by the way, you do need to make sure that you give them a bit of the liquid like this. It's got to travel in a bit of the liquid. And in terms of storing them, I think, was it Linda who was asking me the question about storing? You can store them in a glass jar in the fridge. You can store them in a plastic, one of those plastic Tupperware boxes, that kind of thing. The fermentation process is always stopped when things are chilled. So if you want to stop your kefir from fermenting and getting increasingly tangy, for example, pop it in the fridge. If you want to slow down the fermentation of your SCOBYs, put them in the fridge. If you're going away, you kind of almost like putting them to sleep in the fridge. And obviously the colder, the more they are slowed down. Some people even freeze their grains and their SCOBYs, and then they kind of bring them back up to life at room temperature and they warm them up again. So lots of comments. Yeah, they're great. They really are good. They are so good for you. There's not much clinical evidence into kombucha, but it's been brewed for thousands of years, and we do know that it contains beneficial, good gut bugs. And I think, for all of us, I'll just leave you with this thought. What we need to be doing now is promoting our immune system. We need to be supporting it and, doing all that we can, don't we, to make ourselves stronger and more resilient in every way, mentally, emotionally, physically. And I think if we can just replenish some of the good gut bugs, and it's fun, kids love it. The summer, get them to make the turmeric gut bug, get them to make their own yogurt and creme fraiche and water kefir and all of these things. There's just so much to enjoy. And if you don't believe me and want to recap on any of that, we've got lots of videos up on lizearlewellbeing.com, and again on YouTube. If you just type in Liz Earle kefir or Liz Earle kombucha, all the videos that I've recorded here actually in my studio showing you step by step how to do it. So lots and lots and lots of comments from Her Grace to Lady Jill on Instagram saying, I've got the Neal's Yard Wild Rose hand cream. It's just delightful. Oh, how lovely. I'm going to try that. I wonder if you used your £10 subscription voucher. Don't forget to get that while it lasts. So that is if you want to subscribe to the magazine. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you. I'll be back on Friday. Can't believe I've spoken for nearly an hour again. Honestly, I'm so sorry. I'm sure you've all got much better things to do than to listen to me. Anyway, it's very nice to have the pleasure of your company. One last thing I will leave you with. No, this is not a delicious glass of Chardonnay. Well, I quite fancy one right now. This is kombucha, and this is my own home brew. Really, really good. Really good. And I do like that, just chilled in a wine glass with some ice, because we can pretend, can't we, if we're trying to cut back on the old vino. Or you can do, as I suggested to Eamon and Ruth yesterday, martini glass, splash of vodka. Maybe save that for Friday. Anyway, have a lovely rest of the day. Thank you for being with me. So nice to chat. And I shall see you hopefully same time, same place, Friday. Lots of love. Bye.